And sometimes the referee will give you a first warning.
Yeah.
Then you do this. Then you do it again. The referee will tell you that's the second time. Then the third time they give you a yellow card. Now, if you are going to do it 3 times, and at each time there's a corner.
Yeah.
It simply means that you are putting your team at risk because there's a likelihood that you will be scored from a corner. Jamie Carragher. And Jamie Carragher, to be fair to him, is a former Liverpool player.
You're a legend.
He's a legend. Yeah, he's a legend in Liverpool. And I respect him.
Yeah. What he's achieved in the game, he needs to be a bit humble in his
opinion.
And
more matured.
In his opinion. Because he always tries to drive controversy. And I wasn't surprised when within this week I was doing some research on him and I realized that he's among the top 3 highest paid pundits in the world when it comes to soccer, which means that he's paid to drive controversy.
Yeah. Guys, welcome to the First Half podcast. We're here to discuss football as usual. There's a lot of things going on in the football world. So we believe that we would want to share our opinions and delve into some of the matters into detail. You're welcome, my brother.
Thank you.
Charlie Dennis, what are you going?
Charlie Polo. Very excited to jump into some of these issues. You know, the news are all out there, and there are a lot of things that I have opinion on, and I'd like to share.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are quite sensitive. So we'll be quite emotional on some of them.
Yes.
I will be. Yes, but then, I mean, let's get into some of the news that has come up in the world of football.
Okay.
We can look at Bayern Munich.
Okay,
we can look at Bayern Munich.
Interesting
stuff. Now, you know, you and I sat down one time to have a conversation. We said to ourselves, why on earth will Bayern Munich want to have Vincent Kompany as their coach?
Yeah.
And it even took the whole world by surprise.
It did, yeah.
Because someone who just came out of football, started with Burnley.
Yeah.
I mean, he did fairly well. I mean, he was good at Burnley.
Yeah.
Then before
he even played as a player coach at Anderlecht.
Anderlecht, that's true. Yeah, then we heard Bayern Munich wanted him. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and considering the fact that he took Burnley down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see what this guy can do. And actually, I think he set some records.
Yeah, he's doing amazing.
He's doing amazing. I mean, 37 games, 27 wins.
Yeah.
And it's been crazy.
He's actually on track to send Bayern to their best Bundesliga win in the past 7 years. The records look very good.
And do you know what's crazy? So just look at the past 7 years, the coaches that have been there or were
crazy
there.
names there.
And you compare to Vincent Kompany.
Actually, even Tuchel just left before.
Exactly, yeah. So it just, I don't know whether, and I'll seek your opinion on this. I don't know whether it's just sheer luck or there's some experience that he took in there. And you know, with Vincent's issue, that's why I keep on saying that when people say that, we can't sack our coach because there are no coaches out there.
Yeah.
There are some of these young chaps who have a lot of good things under their sleeves that can actually bring to bear.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your opinion is about his performance at Bayern Munich.
Well, you see, when it comes to Kompany is a leader, natural leader.
Yeah, natural
as
leader.
As you see him, his posture and everything tells you that this guy is a leader.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's worked under some very fantastic coaches over the years. His last one being Pep. And I remember certain interviews that he said that Pep has opened his eye in so many areas of the game that he never
thought about
and knew. And I think it was one of the things that have actually pushed him into management.
That's true.
But then again, it also brings a certain argument to bear that some coaches are actually very good, but just that they don't have the resources. So you see a coach who will be doing very badly in a small team, and then you give them a bigger team, and all of a sudden the same tactics they bring it to quality players, and it's working well.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we are judging coaches, we need to be a bit careful, and that also lets you know, if not for his reputation and where he's come from and the things that he's played, would he have gotten that opportunity, or the tarnish or the whatever stigma of Burnley would have actually drawn the career path that he would have gone, whereby he'll be lingering in lower teams.
Yeah.
We've seen Steven Gerrard come in. It's not going so well. He was with Aston Villa. Lampard has come to Chelsea. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
Is it their fault, or there are things that didn't go well that was really not their fault?
Like with regards to financial resources.
Exactly. So there are a lot of things that need to be questioned and looked at when it comes to, because if you look at the materials he has at the Bayern, like some crazy players, Musiala, Kane, crazy players there that he can actually do amazing with. These are professionals at the top of their game that he doesn't need to do much. I see. So it's really working, and I'm happy for him.
So one thing I want us to also delve into when it comes to him as Vincent Kompany. You know, we've always said that, you know, players are always expected, especially the top teams.
Yeah.
Players who play for these top teams are always expected to be coached by certain caliber of coaches.
Yeah.
And if you are not there, maybe commanding the respect from them will be challenging for you. Then therefore, your results will be questioned. But it looks as though that he just gelled into the team so quickly. All the players actually are doing what he's expecting them to do. He has not had issues well, of course, we are not in there, but of course, if some of them were that damning, it would have been in the public space. He has not had that issues with like players who are trying to challenge his authority and all that. So I think there's something good he's doing in there.
Well, I think football is not just about the technical play. If you are not a leader naturally, you can have the best football management ability, and it's not going to show, because it's not just about the game, the man management, your character in defeat, and all these things. Players are looking at you. He is somebody who benefited from the fact that because of his character and who he stands for,
he has that charisma.
He will command the dressing room from day one, even though he had nothing behind him as a coach. So he would have come in, and this is an opportunity for him to actually make it work. So I think that is what opened the doors for him. He was very firm from the beginning. If he doesn't want to, you are out. You're out. And this is what I want to do. And he didn't focus. And you see, if you don't have confidence, although I've not achieved that, I know what I want. And the club says they are backing me. So it's either you are with me or you are out. And that is where the balance comes in. Some come in there and they are not very, very confident. And they are not able to put their foot on the ground from day one. And then they start getting away from you when some few bad results come in. But if you go in there and you are firm, and they see it on a page that whatever you are asking us to do is working. They all get behind you and they actually start winning. Because and if you have a striker like Harry Kane up there, you don't have to do much to win.
Good. But you know, the good thing is, I mean, I think you are right, because your attitude towards your leadership role is very important. And as much as he's done well, Bayern Munich has lost some critical games this season as well. But then they still showed up the next game and they did much more. 100%. You know, and so I think that Vincent Kompany, I mean, kudos to that young man. I believe that people like him would give other young coaches enough opportunity, enough motivation, know that they don't need to be an old person before they get the opportunity.
You know who I'm happy for in all of this?
Well, who?
Harry Kane.
Okay.
You know, there was this stigma, everybody was laughing at him that wherever he goes, he doesn't get trophies. It looks like this year,
this time around,
he's actually going to be able to put some trophy down, because last season, everybody was laughing that for a team that always wins, and you say, okay, now Kane is here, and for once, he's going to win,
trophy then
Leverkusen took it from them. So,
Anyway, so I think in the same, we will still stay at Bayern Munich, and we'll talk about Kimmich. All the stories about Kimmich leaving.
I have a problem with teams who don't treat their legends well. Kimmich has given his all for Bayern. He's been there forever. He's been there for all the big things that they won. I don't understand why all of a sudden there is this thing that they've pulled. You're actually trying to extend his contract. And now you've pulled it. I don't know what could have gone on in the negotiation table. I don't know whether it is him or his agent who have done something that the club doesn't see well
to the club.
But it's a bit weird. Why they will let him go like that?
It is because when you talk about Bayern Munich, then the first name that comes to your mind is Kimmich.
One of the big names. Kimmich, Müller, these are the players.
But then, you know, you and I have always said that sometimes some of these decisions that go on in the boardroom has actually business reasons behind it. 100%. They tie it to figures and all these things. So sometimes, because we are football fans, our emotions and our sentiments comes to play. But the business guys, when they sit in the boardroom, they take these decisions for safe. And of course, you said something that's very profound. Sometimes some of these agents also are factors that we actually
they look at their interest in the negotiation.
They look at their interest, and maybe if it's not going too well for them, they might decide to pull out. And we might not necessarily know.
But you see, this is where it gets tricky. You see, it's the same thing with Liverpool. When you leave a player to get to the end of his contract, any little misunderstanding during the negotiation, you lose a very good player. So it's always good to start a conversation when they have about a year or more left to go. But when they are so close to the transfer window, an agent will say that I know, okay, if we go somewhere else, this is free money.
Yeah.
So renewal, I may not get much.
I might not get much, but
a
a
if
new
you're going
contract
somewhere else, I can convince my player, tell new challenges. You've done everything at Bayern. Why not just win? And I see the same thing happening with Salah and
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes some of the decisions that goes on behind closed door we do not know.
Yeah.
But I think the board and the management sometimes leaves it to so much of a later time, a bit too late. Then it becomes of a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into this. I think our own godfather, Mourinho,
the father of football.
Yeah, the father of football. Has been banned 4 games. And I think a fine of £35,000. Yes, for some racism comments that he made. That personally, I feel as though that was out of no malice. I think he just said it because if I look at the number of African players, you can't even say African. I'm going too far. The number of black players that have played under Mourinho, and Mourinho have made them who they are today. I think it would be far-fetched to actually think that Mourinho is a racist. You know, so I was a bit disappointed that they took his comments out of proportion. But I think that it's also fair. It's a football world.
Well, I think my opinion, when I heard the news, I was surprised because I didn't expect it to come to that point. Because I mean, for now that racism is such a sensitive issue in football, I don't know why anybody would throw that jab out, but like I said, it's football banter.
Football
if
banter.
You don't win on the pitch, let's try and win in other areas. And I even read his post. That's far before this whole incident, where he said he's not able to even come to Africa anymore because they love him too much in Africa. When he goes on the streets, he's never able to have his peace of mind. Children, whoever, everybody wants to take pictures. They love him so much, and he loves going there. So I mean, Mourinho will be the last person you can associate racism with. And what he said was taken out of context.
Totally.
If you know Mourinho and you know how he talks. So if in an interview, Mourinho is telling you that, oh, this is a team we are all challenging for the trophy. And for this draw, it meant so much to them that even the bench was jumping around like monkeys. I don't think that on the bench there were all color of players there.
So why do you
why will you just limit it to racism? If not, you are trying to be listen. So what I've heard is that he has also actually started a suit. He's going to sue the club for defamation of character. So that thing doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon, because he also feels offended that although I didn't say it in that context, you're trying to pull me in that dark place, and I'm not going to allow it. So, and I understand. I actually accept.
Of course.
If he goes out to suit, it means that he's taking the issue
seriously. And I agree with him. You know, and you know, with the last episode, we discussed about how soft most of the current coaches are. And I think Mourinho's approach is what's supposed to be.
And Mourinho is a hardcore old time.
He's actually a legend. You can't take that away from him. And I think that for a coach of his caliber, issues like this shouldn't be gone taken lightly. You know, so I think he should pursue this to the latter. Because I don't believe that even most of these football pundits who are actually having discussion on this matter really believe that he was trying to be racist by mentioning that.
What I appreciate is that one player have come out to seriously defend him. And that is Didier Drogba.
Drogba has come out.
And the connection there is that he's played under Mourinho and he's actually played in Galatasaray as well. So he came out and said, guys, I mean, you know that this doesn't mean that's not what he meant.
That's not what
we are very close to winning the title. Why don't we focus and stop some of these things? This is somebody I've taken like my father. How can my father, a black man, my father, be a racist? You see, and I like when somebody will say it wasn't necessary or wasn't. But some of these things, because of how sensitive
it's very sensitive,
it's gotten, it needs to be it needs to be done. Because the next thing you know, they are talking about four games ban, £35,000 as a. You never know how far he may lose a big deal because of this. He could even lose some of his endorsement deals.
It's actually a big deal.
It's a serious thing. So he needs to defend himself. Because he could lose some great money from this.
And I'm expecting more players other than just Didier Drogba coming out to speak, because I'm saying that Mourinho has helped a lot of players.
Mourinho has come out so many times to say that he prefers the African players to the European because the African players who play their heart out on the field.
I mean, personally, I feel as though that the football world should cut him some slack. Mourinho is not as bad as we think.
Yeah.
We shouldn't take his comment out of context. So at least
totally.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Now we move on to the other topic,
the
subject.
Elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room, which for me, it has been lingering on for some time.
Yeah.
But I think this time around, when it was mentioned, we chose, the football world or people in the football fraternity chose not to let it go.
Yeah.
Jamie Carragher. And Jamie Carragher, to be fair to him, is a former Liverpool player.
You're a legend.
He's a legend. Yeah, he's a legend in Liverpool. And I respect him. Yeah, I respect him a lot. But then you see his comments, and of course, I think most of us have heard what he spoke about.
I think the fact he's probably with Egypt and he's probably not playing in the major tournaments as such, or maybe got a great chance to win. I think it's either the Champions League or the major tournament. Normally, the player who excels.
Very unwarranted.
And very unwarranted. And he's speaking to a whole continent.
Yeah.
I believe that most of the time, even when you play World Cup tournament, you should actually watch the performance of some of these African teams. You know, so you can't just sit there and say that AFCON is not so significant. It's a little tournament, and for that matter, it shouldn't be regarded. You know, so when I heard Mikel Obi and other African players speak, I mean, that was the first time I've heard Mikel Obi so upset, using the F word, curses, and all that. And I think it's you can't blame them so much.
I think Carragher talks too much, and he's somebody who haven't done so much in the game. We understand that he did a lot for Liverpool, but what he's achieved in the game, he needs to be a bit humble in his opinion,
and more matured
in his opinion, because he always tries to drive controversy. And I wasn't surprised when within this week I was doing some research on him and I realized that he's among the top 3 highest paid pundits in the world when it comes to soccer, which means that he's paid to drive controversy. So always when he speaks, he needs to make sure that he actually goes viral. But I think this time around, he actually hit below the belt. And as I get the point he was trying to make in terms of trying to say why Salah.
He was trying to in context.
Exactly. But in his effort to explain what he meant, he ended up actually downplaying what AFCON stands and what it actually stands for the African continent. And I'm very, very proud of most of the legends of the game in Africa.
Very, very proud.
Come out very boldly and speak against that, because I'm sure most of them or some of them may have some form of relationship with him, but it didn't spare him. I've seen JJ Okocha speak. Mikel Obi, as he said, has spoken. El Hadj Diop has, and all of them have not minced their words. Because the AFCON, I mean, if the game in Europe, let's say even the EPL, how much money do they make from African viewers? Football is a world game. You understand? And the moment we start bringing divisions, it's going to go.
You can't say that the European games and the EPL can be the same if the whole of African continent pulls out of engaging. It can't be the same. The revenue.
You understand? So for you to go and make such a regulatory statement and think that they should let it slide, because I think he's come out to try and downplay what he said. But still, it didn't really strike home because it was unwarranted from the beginning for you to even talk like that. You know, the AFCON is a very prestigious institution. They've been able to play some. I mean, we've gotten some serious talents. And most of the European teams actually scout from the AFCON. We've seen games whereby players are now, after the tournament, getting good teams.
But most of our top players, the Asians, the Steven Appiahs, I mean, most of these, they were picked. They watch AFCON, they realize that,
there's talent there. And the talent in Africa is not a joke
at all.
We had some crazy African talents over the years. Yaya Toure, is it what do you call it? Asian. I mean, so many of them.
And Samuel Eto'o.
They've come in there and they made their mark and they contributed to the game. The game of football. I love the fact that we are trying to actually strike racism out of it. And
it's very important.
It's something that, I mean, although if you are not being affected, you think it's trivial, it's not that big of a deal.
Actually a big deal.
But if racism goes to you, I mean, it's directed at you, you actually see where it's coming from. So when I see games whereby because of a goal, it doesn't matter color, and an Asian, an African, an European are hugging They are bleeding for each other and all that. Football brings so much.
Yeah.
Football has stopped wars.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
People have used football to bring unity in their country.
Yeah.
So some of these things were not really warranted.
Yeah.
And if you compare AFCON to their Euros, there's no difference.
There's no difference. I mean,
you understand? The only difference might be that you have
maybe the infrastructure.
facilities.
Yeah.
So that is it. But when we all meet on the European games and whatever, you see the African players stand out.
Yeah.
They are not playing West because the AFCON is bad or African football is bad. You see, so I think it was very, very unnecessary.
Yeah.
I like the backlash that he has gone. I'm actually expecting more of his European pundit colleagues to also come out.
Yeah.
And actually, I've seen some people actually come out to downplay and tell him that he didn't speak well. So that one is actually good. It needs to continue. So at least let's respect the game. It's a game of football. We are under one body of FIFA. You understand? And I don't think one is better than the other.
Okay.
Some may have more facilities than others, but it doesn't make them better.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. So I wouldn't say a lot, but I believe that football has brought a lot of nations together.
Yeah.
Football actually makes sure that as human beings, we understand that we're all the same, we're all one.
Yeah.
And for that matter, we shouldn't entertain such comments, no matter how trivial they may sound or they may seem.
Yeah. Do you know the beauty of football?
I believe that.
Yeah, do you know the beauty of football? I think the World Cup, a couple of African teams were knocked out and whatever. I think it was left with either Egypt and I think Morocco and I think Nigeria also.
Yeah, a lot of Morocco.
And a country like Ghana, with all our form of banter between Nigeria, Jollof and whatever, I saw a lot of people actually rooting for Nigeria to do good.
Yeah.
Morocco to do good. You could see that it was now about Africa.
Yeah.
It wasn't about a single country anymore.
About a single
and that's the power of football.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
So I think people pass that comment. So I think that Jamie Carragher should eat humble pie.
He needs to just apologize and stop trying to defend.
Just say that that's not what he meant and he's just sorry and we all move on.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, these little comments, if they are not managed well, will cause so much distraction in the world. In the world of football. So Jamie Carragher, you're a Liverpool legend, but we show some respect.
You can do better.
Yeah, you can do better. You can do better.
The other thing that I want us to look at, I think it just dropped in yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know whether it is important, but there's this new rule that has come in football whereby they've now passed a law that if a keeper holds the football for more than 8 seconds, the referee will award a corner.
Charlie, this is long overdue.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's unnecessary.
No, it's not, because you have now watched games where first half 30 minutes a keeper is trying to waste time.
Is it? You see,
what is that?
Sometimes a keeper catches the ball. He's trying to wait for his players to get in position. We are trying to counter attack. So maybe I hold it a few minutes. Either I'm going to throw or kick it to the right place. And I don't see a keeper holding the ball for more than 10 seconds anyway.
Oh, but rather, come on.
Okay.
Keepers have the strategy now. They intentionally place the ball at the wrong place. Or maybe they give it to a player who, during that time, maybe the player not the one supposed to kick. The player give the ball back to him. He's walking to place it at the place where he's supposed to kick the ball.
All these are tactics?
Yeah, they are. And sometimes the referee will give you a first warning.
Yeah.
Then you do this. Then you do it again. The referee will tell you that's the second time. Then the third time they give you a yellow card. Now, if you are going to do it 3 times, and at each time there's a corner.
Yeah.
It simply means that you are putting your team at risk because there's a likelihood that you will be scored from a corner.
Okay. So does it mean that if the ball is with a keeper, but not by hand, but by feet, it's allowed to, if he can hold it for 20 seconds, it's fine?
No, it's not fine.
Why?
We're not. No. You see, I think they the new rule didn't explain whether if they are holding the ball by hand or by feet.
They say if a goalkeeper holds the ball.
Yeah, but when you're holding the ball, in football you can be holding the ball not necessarily in your hand.
But if I decide to take a risk and as I'm a goalkeeper, I decide to hold the ball, dribble or whatever, and it takes me 20 seconds. What's your business?
No, but this is what I believe. I might be wrong. When you hold the ball and you are, let's say you've come out of your 18, you are stringing passes. You are not holding on to the ball. You are not holding play. You see, I think the whole point is that holding play.
But the point is that when they have the ball in the box, players are allowed to press.
Yeah.
They press inside the box.
No, it depends. when the keeper
No, once
the
he
keeper has
kicks
not
it
touched
from
the
the
ball.
spot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, when he kicks it from the spot, so I kick it to my defender.
Yeah, once you've
He
kicked
kicks
it,
back
no,
to
once
me.
you've kicked it, no, game is ongoing.
Yes, so that one, if I decide to hold on to the ball for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and you don't press.
No, but that one is not part. You see, I think we know when you are giving those passes in the 80,
Yes.
and players are allowed to press, it means that the game is ongoing. You're not holding.
So now you're not holding the ball.
No, you're not holding the ball.
Okay.
But then when it's in your 18 and you are expected to kick the ball for play to resume, and you are choosing not to kick because you are trying to act like you are communicating to somebody to move, you are doing all those gestures, then I agree with it. Because some of these things are so unnecessary. And you see, the truth of the matter is that, let's say you're playing a second half game. They've given maybe 6 more minutes after 90 minutes. Sometimes if you are very observant, if let's say after that 6 minutes is up, it's very hardly that the referee adds so much more time. But you realize that the keepers waste so much time during that period.
You see, where I'm a bit not comfortable with it. The game of football is simple. And if we let these regulatory bodies, some whom have never even played the game, become too strict and come in with too many rules and introduction of VAR and all these things, it gets to a point where football will not become simple anymore. Because right now,
it's too late now.
we're getting to a point where, you see, if you look at a game like rugby or American football, there's so many rules that if you're a new beginner and you want to learn the game so that you'll be a fan, you are bored. I've seen rugby so many times. I see a bunch of men jumping on each other on one ball, whether the ball is supposed to go left or right. I have no idea what is going on.
I think you're not interested.
Because if I want to learn, it seems too complicated for me. But football is so simple that, I think when I started watching football, the only thing I didn't understand was offside. But now I came to understand it, like, okay, it makes sense. You understand? But for a very young age, I never understood what this offside meant. You understand? There's no other thing that's complicated about football. But right now we are bringing in so many technical stuff that if you are not careful, getting new people to join the fan base becomes more difficult. So they should be very careful about the kind of things they are introducing into the game.
And I keep on saying that it's too late to make this comment because once VAR came inside, we were out of the old normal football that we all know. Because I always talk about VAR. Look, it's a human being that draws the line 100%. To determine the offside. So there will still be a little bit
human
error. You know. But some of these things, I believe that now with the investment that has come into football now, you would have no choice but some of these things coming in. Wow. And that is where the problem is, because there's so much money invested into football. And we feel as though that we need to correct some things because of that. And also, I believe that before they come out with such rules, I want to believe that they've made an observation over the period. They've looked at the pros and the cons before they've decided to take this decision. Because sometimes it's quite unbearable in some games. You know, the keeper will do this so many times and it actually affects the game. You know, so I don't know whether they finally passed that rule or it's yet to be passed. I'll be
very interested. They said the rule was passed by the International Football Association board, and I'll be very interested to know who makes up that board. Is it as international as they say? Because some of these rules come in and you realize that they don't apply in every part of the world. Because even VAR now, most countries are still not using it because the equipment is so expensive.
I talk about your country.
Well, in my country, most African countries, even the Asian, South American, most of them are still not adapted to because they can't afford it. So if you are going to make something a generic part of the game, make sure that the tools are affordable. Available, otherwise, it becomes very difficult that a young player will play all his life. Now he's 19, 20, he's gotten a professional contract, and this is the first time he's experiencing VAR. So he becomes a disadvantage. It becomes a disadvantage to him,
his career,
compared to those who have been used to it since they were young age. So FIFA needs to invest in these things and make sure that everybody has.
Because then you have old players who used to bang in a lot of goals.
Because they didn't have they've learned the technique.
But now the moment you run, they tell you outside. Your goal has not been.
Sometimes you watch a game and one striker can get 6 offsides, and you're like, what is he doing in training?
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I believe that we're all waiting to see how things unfold in that particular area. Then we can actually see whether it's going to be helpful or not. Yes. So I think lastly we'll just touch briefly on what Amorim said when Garnacho misbehaved. And I think his comments were a bit too soft for me as a coach who's supposed to stamp the authority. His comment was that Garnacho is supposed to buy dinner for the team.
Very embarrassing.
Yeah, very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. I think that he's still trying to be the darling boy. And instead of putting his foot down on some of the misbehaviors that comes out of these players, he's not able to do so.
Maybe it's a problem of, Amorim is now at a situation where he's desperate. And it's like sometimes you have one of your star boys. You need him let's say, assuming Messi was an indisciplined player. And you need him. And the only way you have to discipline him is that he sits on the bench. You are going to undermine your power as a coach. So probably that's why most coaches have now invented things like £500 fine, 200 fine there. You are late for a team meeting. And all, because if you go for the ultimate that I won't play you, you're actually hurting the team and hurting yourself. So they have to resort to some of They have to resort to some of these things as if
but is Garnacho so important to the Manchester United
I
team?
think with his, what has happened because of what happened with Rashford,
he's being careful.
He doesn't want to start introducing a trend about himself. That his go-to is that he just starts taking players out because he doesn't know how to manage. So I think that is where the issue is. I'm thinking that there are stronger words that are going to be said between the two of them in private. But of course, to the media, he's trying to make it a lesser issue. He's going to buy dinner and all this kind of thing. But I'm sure he's going to run some 100 laps around the pitch before training.
Anyway, I mean, it's interesting, but we hope that things get much better for Amorim.
Coaches need to be stronger.
They need to be stronger.
Because those days, all the big names who have won stuff, they were very strict.
Very, very, very firm.
You can't achieve anything when you don't have a discipline.
That's true. True. All right, guys. So these are our opinions on what is happening in the football world currently. We would like you to share your opinions, of course, especially with the AFCON matter. Because we are Ghanaians and we're Africans and we felt as though that was very below the belt. Let us know what you think. Continue to subscribe. We'll bring you a lot of content that you would enjoy. All right, cheers.